I'm Mary, and I met Adam in college. We got along right away. He was charming, funny, and driven. We got married soon after graduating and started building our life together. When our daughter, Amanda, was born, I was thrilled. I gave her all my love and worked hard to raise her, wanting to give her the best start in life. I believed in setting rules and teaching her discipline. Knowledge is power, I'd always tell her. Study hard, and you'll go far. Adam, however, had a different way of parenting. He'd spoil Amanda with gifts, buy her sweets, and let her do things I wouldn't allow. "Come on, Mary," he'd say. "Let her be a kid." It annoyed me, but I thought we balanced each other out. As Amanda got older, it was clear she was closer to Adam. She'd run to him with her problems, laugh at his jokes, and get excited when he came home. With me, it was all eye rolls and the classic "yes, Mom" tone that teenagers have. I kept quiet, telling myself Amanda would understand my strictness came from love when she got older. But even at 18, she still sided with Adam. It hurt, but I told myself I was doing what was best for her in the long run. Despite these small issues, I felt happy. I had a successful career at a well-known clinic, a husband who could still make me laugh, and a daughter I loved, even though we had our differences. Life was good, or so I thought. One fall day, while doing laundry, everything changed. I was emptying Adam's coat pockets, expecting to find a receipt or dry cleaning ticket. Instead, I found a receipt from an expensive perfume store. The perfume listed was a pricey brand that I'd never wear. Too floral, too sweet. Adam knew I liked subtler scents. I stood there with the washing machine quietly humming in the background as my mind raced with possibilities. Was the perfume a surprise gift? But my birthday had passed and our anniversary was months away. Could it be for his mother? No, she's allergic to most perfumes. My hands shook as I took a picture of the receipt with my phone, then carefully put it back in his pocket. I needed time to think, to process this without jumping to conclusions. That evening, when Adam was in the shower, I checked his coat again, but the receipt was gone. I didn't tell anyone, not Adam or Amanda, but now that I had noticed it, I couldn't stop seeing things differently. It was like a veil had lifted, and everything seemed strange. Adam's late nights at work weren't new, but now they felt off. "Big project, honey," he'd say, kissing me on the cheek. "Don't wait up." I'd nod and smile, but inside, I was wondering who he was really meeting. Even his new haircut stood out. He'd always cared about his looks, but this style was different, more trendy, younger. When I complimented him, he just shrugged it off, saying, "Thought I'd try something new." The weekend fishing trips were the hardest. Every other Sunday, he'd grab his gear and head out saying, "The fish are really biting lately." I'd watch him drive away, wondering if he even had a fishing rod anymore. Before finding that receipt, I hadn't connected these dots. Now, they formed a picture I couldn't ignore. The thought I had been avoiding hit me. Adam had a mistress. I tried to push it away. This was Adam, my Adam, the man who held my hand through 22 hours of labor, the guy who brought me flowers on random Thursdays. He wouldn't cheat, but the doubt was eating at me. I couldn't eat or sleep, and I'd lie awake, listening to his steady breathing, wondering if he was dreaming of her. One sleepless night, I found myself scrolling through Facebook and saw a familiar name, Eric Johnson. We went to high school together, and I remembered he became a private investigator. Before I could change my mind, I sent him a message. We met at a coffee shop the next day. I took a deep breath and told him everything: the receipt, Adam's behavior, my suspicions. Eric listened carefully, his expression calm. He agreed to take the case. As I watched him leave, I felt both relieved and scared. Soon, I'd have answers, but did I really want them? The next 5 weeks were the hardest of my life. I went through the motions, smiling at patients, helping Amanda with her homework, making small talk with Adam over dinner. But inside, I was falling apart. I was a wreck. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped, thinking it was Eric with news. Every time Adam came home late, I searched his face for signs of guilt. Every time Amanda mentioned her dad, I wondered if she knew something I didn't. "Are you okay, Mom?" Amanda asked one evening, noticing me staring blankly at the wall. "You seem off." I forced a smile. "Just tired, sweetie. Lots of clients this week." She didn't seem convinced, but she let it go. I felt a stab of guilt for lying to her. What could I say? Your dad might be cheating, and I've hired someone to follow him. Adam, meanwhile, acted like nothing was wrong. Whoever or whatever was keeping him busy, he didn't seem to notice my distress. Part of me was relieved, and part of me was furious that he was so blind to my pain. The call came on a Thursday afternoon. I was between clients when my phone buzzed, and Eric's name flashed on the screen. My heart raced. "Mary, can we meet?" His voice was calm, giving nothing away. We agreed to meet at the same coffee shop in an hour. The rest of my workday was a blur. I went through the motions, but my mind was elsewhere. When I arrived, Eric was already there, a thick manila envelope on the table in front of him. My stomach dropped at the sight. "Mary," he said, pushing the envelope towards me. "It's all in here, photos, dates, places." "I'm sorry, but your suspicions were right." With shaking hands, I opened the envelope. The first photo felt like a punch in the gut. It was Adam, my Adam, with his arms around a younger woman. They were laughing, looking into each other's eyes with clear affection. "Who is she?" I managed to ask. "Amy Ryan," Eric replied. "She's 29, works at Adam's company. She's the director's daughter." I flipped through more photos: Adam and Amy at restaurants, walking in the park, getting on a yacht. Each photo was like a fresh wound. "They've been seeing each other for over a year," Eric continued. "It's serious. They've even talked about a future together." I nodded, numb, barely processing his words. Then I gasped. One photo showed Adam and Amy at a cafe, but they weren't alone. Sitting with them, laughing and smiling, was Amanda. "No," I whispered. "It can't be." "I'm sorry, Mary," Eric said gently. "But Amanda knows. She's met them several times. Those weekends she said she was with friends? She was with them on Amy's yacht. There's more. Adam and Amy have been buying Amanda expensive gifts, designer clothes, jewelry. I think they're trying to buy her silence." I don't remember the drive home. Thankfully, the house was empty when I got there. I moved without thinking, packing a small suitcase with clothes and essentials. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't face Adam or Amanda. I checked into a hotel across town, my mind still spinning. Once in my room, I called my boss at the clinic and took 3 weeks off unpaid, saying it was a family emergency. I turned off my phone and collapsed onto the bed. The envelope on the bedside table seemed to mock me. I couldn't resist. I opened it again. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, those photos haunted me. Amanda smiling as she hugged Amy. Adam with his arm around both of them. My anger, which had been slowly building, finally boiled over. For years, I had been the understanding one, the peacemaker, the one who bent over backward to make everyone happy. But I was done with that. My eyes landed on my laptop. Without thinking, I opened it and logged into my bank account. There it was, Amanda's college fund. I had saved for years, determined to give her the best education. It was my way of showing love, even when she pushed me away. Now, looking at that balance, all I could think about was how Amanda had betrayed me. She had lied to my face, spent time with that woman, and accepted her gifts. My daughter, who I had sacrificed so much for, had stabbed me in the back. Suddenly, a memory came to mind. Years ago, before Amanda was born, I had dreamed of opening my own cosmetology office. But life happened: marriage, a baby, mortgage payments. My dream got pushed aside. I stared at the account balance. It was enough to start over, to finally pursue my own dreams instead of everyone else's. "You know what?" I said aloud to the empty hotel room. "Screw it. This money isn't for Amanda anymore, it's for me." The words hung in the air, both terrifying and freeing. For the first time in days, I felt a spark of hope. I had a future, even if it wasn't the one I had planned. Emotionally exhausted, I finally drifted off to sleep, my phone still turned off. The next morning, I woke to sunlight streaming through the curtains. For a brief moment, I forgot everything. Then reality hit me again. I took a deep breath and turned on my phone. It immediately buzzed with notifications: missed calls from Adam and Amanda, voicemails, and text messages asking where I was and if I was okay. Their concern, which would have once touched my heart, now felt like poison. How dare they act like they cared now? I didn't bother listening to the voicemails or reading the texts. Instead, I got dressed, packed my bag, and checked out of the hotel. It was time to face the truth. The drive home felt unreal. Part of me wanted to keep driving, to disappear, and start fresh somewhere far away. But I pushed that thought aside. I needed closure. As I pulled into the driveway, I saw Adam's car and Amanda's bike. They were both home. Good. I walked inside, my heels echoing on the hardwood floor. Adam and Amanda rushed out of the living room, their faces showing a mix of relief and worry. "Mary, where have you been?" "We've been so worried," Adam said, stepping forward to hug me. Amanda's voice followed, high-pitched with concern. "Mom, are you okay? Why didn't you answer our calls?" I stepped back, avoiding Adam's hug. A bitter laugh escaped me, stopping them both in their tracks. Without a word, I reached into my bag, pulled out the folder, and tossed it onto the coffee table. Photos spilled out. Adam and Amanda stared at the pictures, their faces turning pale. There they were, Adam with Amy, Amanda with them both. The silence was deafening. Adam was the first to speak, his shock quickly turning into anger. "Mary, it's not what you think," he started, trying to sound calm. "Amy and I are just friends. And Amanda—" "Don't you dare drag Amanda into your lies." I cut him off, my voice cold as ice. Amanda jumped in, her eyes wide, pretending to be innocent. "Mom, please, I can explain. I only met her a few times. I didn't know." I raised a hand to silence them both. "Save it. I know everything. The yacht trips, the gifts, the dinners. Every lie. Every betrayal." They exchanged a look, realizing their excuses weren't working. Their mask slipped. Adam's face hardened, all fake guilt gone. "Fine," he said coldly. "You want the truth?" "Yes, I'm with Amy. She's young, beautiful, and rich. She makes me feel alive in a way you haven't in years." His words hit me like a slap, but I didn't flinch. I turned to Amanda, waiting for her response. She didn't disappoint. "Amy is amazing, Mom," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "She's successful, stylish, fun, not strict and boring like you." Each word cut deeper, but I wouldn't let them see me break. "I see," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Well, let me tell you both something. Adam, I want a divorce. I'll have my lawyer contact you." Adam's eyes widened, but before he could speak, I turned to Amanda. "And you, young lady, can't forget about me paying for your college tuition. If Amy is so amazing, maybe she can cover it." Amanda's jaw dropped. "What? You can't do that. That's my money. I've been counting on it. I want to get into my dream school." Amanda cried. "You should have thought about that before you betrayed me," I replied, unmoved by her fake tears. "Mom, please," she sobbed, her cool attitude falling apart. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Please forgive me. I need that money." But her earlier words kept echoing in my mind, strict, boring, worse than the other woman. Ignoring their pleas, I went upstairs and packed the rest of my things. When I came back down, suitcase in hand, Adam stood in my way. "Mary, let's talk about this rationally," he said in a businesslike tone. "The house, our assets. My lawyer will be in touch." I cut him off, pushing past him. "I'm done talking to you." The next few weeks flew by in a blur. I found a small apartment and threw myself into the work of ending a 22-year marriage. I hired a lawyer and requested a mediator, determined to keep the divorce as simple as possible. The last thing I wanted was a long, messy court battle. Amanda called nonstop at first. When I didn't answer, she switched to texting and emailing, each message a mix of apologies and demands. I read them all, my heart breaking over and over, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. The wound was too fresh, the betrayal too deep. As time passed, I often found myself staring at my phone, Amanda's number on the screen. My finger would hover over the call button, torn between wanting to hear her voice and remembering her cruel words and secret meetings with Adam and Amy. Each time, I'd put the phone down. Weeks turned into months, and each meeting with Adam was a painful test of endurance. We sat across from each other in the cold, sterile atmosphere of the lawyers' offices. The man I once loved was now just another face across the table, all business, no warmth. One day, as I took my usual seat, the door opened and Amanda walked in behind Adam. My heart clenched at the sight of her, but her expression stopped me in my tracks. She looked at me with a mix of condescension and triumph that knocked the breath out of me. "Hello, Mother," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "I hope you don't mind me joining today." Before I could respond, she continued, "I just wanted to let you know I won't be needing your pathetic money after all. Amy has generously offered to pay for my education at any top college in the U.S. She paused, clearly enjoying the moment. "Oh, and I'll be living with Dad and Amy from now on. We're going to be one big, happy family." I felt the eyes of our lawyers and the mediator on me, waiting for my reaction. But I was too tired, too drained to feel anything anymore. I simply shrugged and said, "If that's what you want, Amanda, I hope you'll be happy," I said flatly. Something flickered in Amanda's eyes. Was it disappointment? Had she wanted a bigger reaction? But it disappeared quickly, replaced by her smug expression. The rest of the meeting blurred by with legal talk and dividing our assets. In the end, Adam and I split everything equally. The house would be sold, and we'd split the money. With my share of the house sale and the money I'd saved for Amanda's college fund, I had enough to start fresh. I found a small but cozy apartment, and after much thought, I decided to take a chance. I quit my job at the clinic and threw myself into creating a business plan for my own cosmetology office. It was both terrifying and exciting. All my years of experience and dreams I had put on hold, it was finally time to use them. Weeks of planning, renovations, and nervous anticipation followed, but eventually, Mary's Beauty Haven opened its doors. The first few months were a whirlwind of long hours, promoting on social media and slowly building a loyal client base. In quiet moments, usually late at night after a long day, I'd find myself scrolling through social media. I'd see Amanda's posts, pictures of her in designer clothes, lounging on Amy's yacht, always smiling, always looking carefree. Each photo was like a stab to my heart. I wondered if she ever thought of me, if she missed me at all. When her 19th birthday came, I sent her a message wishing her well. I did the same for her high school graduation. Both went unanswered. A year had passed since the divorce, and life had settled into a new rhythm. My cosmetology office, once just a dream, had become a thriving reality. The steady stream of loyal clients from my clinic days, along with new faces, kept me busier than ever. I even hired 2 assistants to help with the workload. One sunny Thursday afternoon, as I finished up with a client, my phone buzzed. It was my cousin Angela. "Mary, you won't believe what I just saw," she said, her voice a mix of concern and disbelief. "I was at the Meadowbrook supermarket, the one on the other side of town, and I swear I saw Amanda working at the checkout." My heart skipped a beat. "Amanda? Are you sure?" "Positive." She looked different, thinner, tired, but it was definitely her. I thanked Angela and hung up, my mind racing. Amanda working at a supermarket? What happened to college? What about Amy's promise to pay for her education? That night, after closing my office, I did something I hadn't done in months. I looked up Amanda's social media. What I found shocked me. All of Amanda's glamorous photos with Adam and Amy were gone. No updates, no pictures of her going to college, nothing. Her once active profile was now a ghost town. For days, I struggled with what to do. Part of me wanted to rush to the supermarket and demand answers, but another part, the part still hurting from the betrayal, held me back. Finally, on my day off, I couldn't take it anymore. I drove to the Meadowbrook supermarket, my heart pounding as I walked through the automatic doors. And there she was, Amanda, my baby girl, looking so different from the confident young woman who had sneered at me in the lawyer's office. She was thin, almost gaunt, with dark circles under her eyes as she scanned items at the checkout. Our eyes met, and for a second, I saw a flash of something: embarrassment, shame, but before I could figure it out, she looked away, her cheeks flushing. I hesitated, then slowly approached her checkout line. "Amanda," I said quietly. She glanced up, then quickly looked back down at the register. What do you want? She asked, her voice harsh and defensive. I'd like to talk. Maybe we could get coffee after your shift. I offered. I don't want to talk to you, she snapped, still not looking me in the eye. Please leave. Amanda, please, I tried again. Leave, she said, louder this time, finally looking at me. Her eyes were blazing with a mix of anger, and something else. Was it fear? Shocked by her intensity, I stepped back. People were starting to stare. With a heavy heart, I left the supermarket, my hands shaking as I climbed into my car. As I drove home, my mind was spinning with questions. What had happened? Where were Adam and Amy? Why wasn't Amanda in college? For days, I waited for a call, a text, anything. But my phone stayed silent. I thought about going back to the supermarket, but Amanda's words echoed in my mind. I don't want to talk to you. Just when I was starting to lose hope, my phone rang. An unknown number flashed on the screen. With a mix of nervousness and curiosity, I answered. Mom. Amanda's voice came through, small and uncertain. Can we meet, please? We agreed to meet at a small cafe near my office. As I sat there waiting, my mind raced with possibilities. When Amanda finally walked in, my breath caught. She looked so different from the glowing, confident girl in those yacht photos, so much older than her years. We sat in silence for a long time, the weight of unsaid words hanging between us. Finally, Amanda spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm so sorry, Mom, for everything. And then, like a dam breaking, her story spilled out. At first, living with Adam and Amy had been like a dream: designer clothes, yacht trips, and promises of a bright future.
But the honeymoon didn't last.
Amy started making comments, Amanda explained, her eyes staring down at her untouched coffee. Little comments about how much space I took up, how expensive I was, Amanda said. Then she told Dad I couldn't live with them anymore, and there was no money for college. I gasped. But your father, surely he didn't agree? Amanda's bitter laugh was enough of an answer. He said I was an adult now, that I needed to stand on my own 2 feet. They kicked me out, Mom. I had nowhere to go. Why didn't you call me? I asked, reaching for her hand across the table. She pulled away, tears in her eyes. I was so ashamed. And then I realized this must be how you felt when we betrayed you. I couldn't face you after that. My heart broke for her, though a small part of me whispered, good. Now she knows how it feels. I'm sharing a crappy apartment with a co-worker, Amanda continued. The supermarket job barely covers rent and food.
I feel so useless.
I wanted to hug her and tell her everything would be okay, but I knew it wasn't that simple. Amanda, I said gently, I'm sorry you're going through this, but you're right. You did betray me. Actions have consequences, and this is something you need to work through. We both cried, mourning the lost year, the broken trust, and the pain we had caused each other. As we parted, something had shifted between us. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. That night, I couldn't sleep, Amanda's story playing over and over in my mind. By morning, I had made a decision. I called her. I have a proposition for you, I said. I need an administrator at my office. The pay isn't great, but it's better than the supermarket, and maybe we can start rebuilding from there. There was a long pause before she replied, yes, I'd like that. Thank you, Mom. It's been 5 months since that day. Amanda now works at my office, learning the business from the ground up. She's saving for community college, determined to make it on her own this time. Our relationship is still a work in progress. There are good days and bad days, moments of connection and moments of tension. The trust we once had is being rebuilt, slowly but surely, one day at a time. As I watch Amanda greet a client with a warm smile, I feel a glimmer of hope. We aren't the same people we were before the betrayal, the divorce, the year of silence, but maybe, just maybe, we can become something new, something stronger.